Breaking down your emotional spending triggers is a critical step to financial freedom. Most people treat money problems as if they are a result of only calculation errors and nothing else. The real issue is the fact that they're using their wallet to manage their emotions. This guide will clearly explain what emotional spending is and reveal the psychological traps that exploit your feelings to make you spend, and give you simple, mental shifts to reprogram your brain for true control over your finances. If you want to stop letting stress, boredom, or sadness steal your savings and start making your money work for your happiness, you need to watch this entire video right now. Don't click away. Your financial health depends on understanding this invisible cycle. Hit that like button, drop a comment with one emotion that triggers you to spend, and subscribe so we can tackle these mental hurdles together. I want you to examine a crucial psychological concept I call the invisible strings. You must understand that emotional spending is not about being bad with money. It's about using purchases to cope with feelings like stress, boredom, sadness, even excitement. When a negative emotion hits, your brain seeks an immediate reward to feel better. Unfortunately, spending is one of many few things that offers a quick dopamine hit each time you repeat the action. Let's explore a few ways our emotions can dictate the size of our wallets, without us even realizing it. The entire consumer world is designed to be the easiest, fastest fix for any slight discomfort you feel. This is a deep behavioral loop. When you feel lonely, the brain registers discomfort. It then searches for the fastest way to relieve that discomfort. Calling a friend or going for a run feels like it requires significant mental effort. However, clicking the Buy Now button on a shopping site provides your brain with instant gratification. This is a neurological shortcut. Think about the convenience of one-click ordering and digital downloads. These are specifically designed to minimize the time between the emotional trigger and the purchase, effectively bypassing your decision-making logic. You are buying a moment of relief in an attempt to escape from an unpleasant feeling. This pattern is reinforced every time you repeat these actions, making the emotional trigger stronger and the financial damage more significant over time. You need to interrupt these automatic cycles with conscious awareness. Next, you need to understand what I refer to as the ripple effect. This explains how allowing your emotions to drive your purchases creates far more damage than the price tag itself. Emotional spending isn't just about the money lost in the exact moment. It also seriously impacts your long-term financial goals, as well as your relationships and your mental well-being. Think about the common scenario. You feel stressed after a tough day, so you buy something online. The debt that piles up from those impulse buys creates a cycle of even more stress, leading right back to more emotional spending. It's a dangerous loop that is engineered by lenders who offer easy credit as a solution to all your problems. This is the industry's main psychological weapon against the average consumer trying to save. They offer the illusion of immediate satisfaction without immediate payment, directly exploiting your desire for instant emotional relief. This illusion of distance from the payment is a trick that guarantees the fees and a new stress cycle. Furthermore, you must consider the hidden cost of unused items accumulating in your home from all of the purchases. That expensive jacket you bought to cheer yourself up now adds to your mental load because of how much space it takes up in our closet. When your home is filled with these impulse purchase items you bought because of emotional instability, it becomes harder to feel calm, organized, and in control in order to reach long-term financial success. These items contribute to low-grade anxiety, which then, ironically, triggers the next wave of emotional spending. You are effectively paying money to create more problems for yourself. The average consumer, unaware of this ripple effect, sees the clutter as a storage problem, not a psychological spending problem. You must view every unused item as a past emotional failure that needs to be addressed, either by selling it to recoup some loss or by giving the item to someone else in order to clear the mental and physical space. Furthermore, we must address practical strategies for control. You need to build psychological defenses that interrupt the emotional spending cycle before it takes hold. This is your personal protection against manipulative tactics. The first essential tool is the 24-hour rule. When you feel the urge to purchase something that's not essential or doesn't follow your budget to maintain steady growth, you must commit to waiting 24 hours before clicking buy. This simple friction allows the initial, powerful emotional wave to pass, allowing your rational mind to regain control. Think of this delay as creating a window for the logical processes of your brain to catch up with the emotional, impulse-driven parts. Most impulse purchases are driven by a sudden, intense spike of feeling. Waiting just one day guarantees you'll realize the item's true, often low, value. Next, you must build an emotional first aid kit to cope with feelings instead of spending. This kit should include specific, planned actions for specific emotions. For example, if your trigger is boredom, your first aid kit solution might be call a friend. If your trigger is stress, your solution might be go for a 20-minute walk or journal about the cause of stress after meditation. You are training your brain to seek internal, sustainable comfort instead of external fixes. Finally, I urge you to implement budgeting with intention by creating a joy fund for planned, value-based purchases, avoiding an emotional purchase. This gives you psychological permission to spend, which reduces the feeling of deprivation that often triggers emotional buying. This structure turns spending from a reactive coping mechanism into a proactive, planned expression of your values. When you use money from your joy fund, you feel satisfaction. When you use money from your main account for an out-of-budget purchase, you feel shame and regret. This system works off your brain's preference for positive reinforcement. I want to pivot to your strategic plan for action, which is building yourself a financial roadmap forward. You must use clear, honest data and self-compassion to turn your self-awareness into wealth. This is about capitalizing on your understanding of psychological tactics by using that knowledge for good. The power of tracking and visualizing your spending is key to gaining awareness and identifying patterns. When you track your spending, you can clearly see that every time you feel bored on a Sunday afternoon, you spend $25 on food delivery. This conscious identification of the trigger, Sunday boredom, and the immediate response, ordering out, is the first, most critical step to breaking the habit. This process, often done with a budgeting app, is your personal vulnerability assessment. It tells you exactly where the marketplace is exploiting your emotional weaknesses. Don't look at the number of times you repeated the actions as a failure. Instead, look at it as data that provides the necessary insight for a tactical change. Next, you must set realistic financial goals that align with your deepest values, providing a stronger reason to resist emotional triggers. Your goal is not just to save money. Your goal must be to save enough money for the down payment on a home, or to pay off the last credit card so you can launch your own small business. These value-driven goals are far more powerful, concrete reason to resist an impulse purchase. When the emotional spending urge hits, your brain can counter it with a clear, positive image of your future self. This mental battle is easier to win when the reason is tied to true freedom and not just a number in a bank account. This uses the psychological principle of future self-consideration, making the sacrifice feel less painful today because the reward is so vivid tomorrow. Finally, you must embrace celebrating small wins and being kind to yourself on this journey. It's about progress, not perfection. When you successfully use your emotional first aid kit instead of spending, acknowledge that win. Treat that day as a success. This positive reinforcement retrains your brain to seek fulfillment through internal control, not external consumption. Remember, you are fighting years of conditioning and billions of dollars of marketing designed to make you fail. If you slip up, don't spiral into shame and spend more. Instead, analyze the trigger, forgive yourself, and reset your 24-hour rule. This self-compassion is the foundation of long-term financial growth. We've covered some critical ground today on understanding your emotional spending triggers. We defined emotional spending as using your wallet to cope with feelings, exposing the ripple effect of debt and clutter, and how the market exploits our neurological shortcuts. We armed you with practical strategies to interrupt those destructive impulses. Your action plan is to track your spending to find your patterns Set value-driven goals using future self-consideration, and be kind to yourself as you make progress. One key is realizing that your money is a tool for building your best life, not a quick fix for a bad day. You must take control of your emotions to take control of your finances. And seriously, don't leave yet. You've got the map, now use it. Hit that like button and start implementing the 24-hour rule today. Comment below with the one healthy item you'll put in your emotional first aid kit. And subscribe so you get the next guide on making your self-control your biggest asset. Your financially free future self will absolutely thank you.